So on here, when we look at it, I'm going to go into this layout, and I showed you to go to it through print. There's a few ways to get into that settings box. The easiest way is just going to print, and it'll take you to this page, the page setup. You can also right click on it and go to the page setup manager, and then say modify, and then it opens it up. You can see that going through the print is just way easier. Just you have to hit the apply to layout instead of okay on that way though. Because if I go to print, it brings it to here, but if I hit OK, what's it going to do? It's going to print. It's going to do what this says. So if you hit apply to layout, it saves your settings but doesn't actually print. So if I pick my thing here, and then based on these, it's going to change. So like Tara was asking, there's the ANC A, there's ANC Expand A, there's ANC Full Bleed A. What's the difference? And then there's the ARC. There's like an ARC A also, I think. I don't think they have an ARC A, but whatever. So what's the difference? So if I'm on the regular ANC A and I apply it to the layout, and then I hit cancel, look at the dotted lines. And then if I go, so I'm just going to draw a line right there where that dotted line is. And I'm going to erase the viewport just to get it out of the way. So I drew a line where that is, and I'm going to make that line be red, just so we can track it. Now I'm going to go in, and I'm going to change that to ANC Expand A, and apply it to layout. And then cancel. And you can see where the line went. So that's going to be blue. And then if I do the ANC Full Bleed A, there's no dotted line. That's the difference. It's that dotted line. So what is that dotted line? What do you think the dotted line is?
Where things print.
Yeah, that's the margins on the printer. So the printers can't print edge to edge. Most printers can't. Like LaserJets, they don't print edge to edge. They need a little margin there. So like that's why even in Word, like they have the thin margin that's like a 1/4 inch, right? If you try and put stuff there, it just gets cut off anyway. So in most cases, going to the expand gives you that space, because we can kind of do it whatever we want in it, but it gives us that guide of something to center between on it. So that's why I like that Expand A, because we don't need a ton of space. So that's good. But see how much more space the regular one wastes? That's like that's over 1/2 inch of extra space that it's using. And so I like to just use the regular one. We're going to put our title block in there anyway, and so it's going to be a little bit inside of that. But those lines now help us center it up. The title block is made so it's going to fit in there and have a nice margin around it anyways. And I don't care if it's exactly centered, but pretty close. With those lines, you should be able to eyeball it really good. So how big is it? It's 7.5 by 10, right? Isn't it that big? So it should be how much of a margin all the way around? How big is this sheet of paper? 8.5 by 11. So if my thing is 7.5 by 10, so there should be 1/2 inch all the way around. So I could go in and move it and kind of just center it here, or I could move it from here, and I want to go to the origin, which should be right there. I can say pound 0,0, and it went to there. I guess it's going to the, see, I don't do that. That's why we were learning. So instead of going to the edge of the paper, it went to the edge of the printable area. So that's, I'm going to move it over and kind of center it. And we'll move it up maybe a little bit more. So this is that kind of that eyeballing game from CAD 10. How good can you judge distances and compare things just by eyeballing it? this doesn't have to be exact. No one's going to come out and be like, your border is off center by 3/1000ths of an inch. It's like that can happen in the printer. It doesn't matter. And so, but as long as it's pretty centered, if your border's over here, you know, and it prints like that, then there's an issue. But if you've got it pretty well centered and every single one of your pages is the same, then it doesn't matter. Okay? Remember, pick your battles. Some things matter, some things don't matter. This is one of the things you need to have it in there. It needs to be relatively centered, but it doesn't matter. Okay? As opposed to the things we're going to be doing today with our views, where they need to be lined up and they need to be perfect, then it does matter. Okay? So, any other questions on this?